Affordable doesn't mean bad, and I want to prove it to you by showing my top 5 of the E.L.F. makeup brushes that I still use for my Cosplay SFX makeups. Hello shapeshifter and doppelgangers alike, I'm MightyG Cosplay and welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk about my top 5 E.L.F. makeup brushes. So basically for everything regarding body paint I'm using brushes from the art supply store, but for beauty products I'm using, well, beauty makeup brushes. So when I started I made all of my brush kit from E.L.F. makeup brushes, and then with time I replaced the brushes that I liked the least with other brands. So I went from E.L.F. to Sephora brushes, then with MAC brushes. But even there's some E.L.F. brushes that I purchased at the beginning that I'm still using and loving up to this day. So I want to talk about it. So before we jump into the subject, just some quick reminder, you can give a like and subscribe to the channel to see more cosplay SFX makeup tips and tricks. You can also follow me on Instagram to see pictures of my makeup, and you can find the link in the description. So now let's start the countdown. So in number 5 we have this E.L.F. eyeshadow brush that comes with a white handle and is more like a packing brush. So that's gonna sound mean, but I do love it because it is a good disposable brush for SFX makeup. But yeah, because when you're working with SFX products such as adhesives and latex, it's pretty much ruining your brushes. These are examples of the same eyeshadow brush that I used with latex. As you can see, the latex stuck in the bristle, and now the bristle are just like one giant blob of latex. I mean, this one is completely ruined. This one, I can still use it a little bit, but you can see that the bristle are all stuck together, and you cannot really remove the latex or the adhesives from the bristle. The best way to prevent that is to wash your brush while you're using them so that nothing really stuck into them. So yeah, there's a lot of disposable brush available on the market, but I do really like this one for this kind of purpose because the bristle have just the perfect length. So what I love about this is when you're applying a latex prosthetic on your face, you really want to blend the edges, and basically what you're doing is you're starting on the prosthetic and then you're smoothing out the latex to make it thinner and thinner and thinner, to make like a triangle starting from the prosthetic and then going thinner and thinner and thinner to your skin, so that you are able to blend it more easily. So to do that, this brush is really good because you can apply more pressure in order to do that kind of really smoothing effect. So I think it is really great, especially for latex. It is also good for adhesive, and as I said, I love it because it's a disposable brush. It costs like $3, but even for $3 it's doing a really great job for that. So this was my pick for number 5. So in number 4 we have this E.L.F. concealer brush that comes with a white handle. This is more a precision concealer brush. So you will see throughout the video there's a lot of E.L.F. brushes that I really like, but I'm not necessarily using them in the intended way. So there's two main purposes I'm using this brush for. The first one, it is very good to use as an eraser or as a smudger. Basically when you're doing your makeup, it is always good to have on hand some brushes that you're not using, that you're not applying product with, and you can use as an eraser, especially to remove eyeshadow. Also, you can use it to smudge. What I mean by that is, let's say I'm doing a line using a liner brush and eyeshadow, but I don't want the line to be very apparent. I want it to look like a very tight gradient, so you need to smudge the edges of the line. So you can use that brush to do so. So you just go over the edges of the line and you blend that in. So for that purpose, nowadays I prefer using this Marc Jacob brush that it is the smudger. It is available at Sephora for $50. This is quite expensive, but I've been lucky to find it at Marshall for $15. But I do think that this E.L.F. brush that is like $3 or $5 can be a very great dupe for this Marc Jacob one. The other thing that I like doing with this E.L.F. brush is to apply liquid eyeshadow or highlighter. Basically, when I'm doing a makeup of like a robot or doing a mask with a lot of 3D structure, I like to apply that kind of product at the edges to really make it pop and to have a very bright contrast. So I'm generally using silver or gold eyeshadow or highlighter to apply at the edges of the plate. And generally I'm using this E.L.F. concealer brush to do so. Because it was designed to handle concealer, it is really good at handling liquid product like those. So yes, this was my pick for number 4. So in number 3 we have this Flawless Concealer Brush, this brush that comes with a black handle. So as I said earlier in the video, I'm not using the E.L.F. brushes necessarily in the intended way, so this one I'm not using it to blend in my concealer, but I'm using it as a precision powder brush. When I'm doing my makeup, I love to set my body paints with a matching color of eyeshadow. The problem is that most powder brush are way too big and most eyeshadow brush are way too small and it would take forever. So that's the reason why I love this brush so much. It's not as much because of its performance, but because of its size. It's densely packed enough to act as a powder brush. So it's just that I haven't found on the market another brush that have the same size and length, also the length of the bristles. So yeah, I think up to now it is a kind of a unique brush, so that's one of the reasons why I really like it. Also, I do keep duplicates of this brush. I have to say I already broke one in the past. Maybe I'm too rough with my brushes, but also sometimes when you're doing a makeup with a lot of different color of eyeshadows, especially if they are really pigmented, it can be bothering to always clean your brushes between colors. So because of the price, because it is really affordable, I love to have more than one so I can use one brush per color that I'm using. So yes, this was my pick for number 3. So for number 2 and 1, we are now talking about E.L.F. brushes I'm basically using at the beginning of every single makeup that I do. So in number 2 we have the E.L.F. Eyebrow Brush and Comb. So basically what I'm using this brush for is to conceal my eyebrows. Basically at the beginning of each makeup I'm concealing my eyebrows. I do it off camera because it's just long, especially because I need to wait for the glue to dry down. I'm using a glue stick, this one from Elmer, and the first step, the first layer, I'm applying the glue all over my eyebrow in a pretty messy way, and then I'm using the brow comb to really flatten the bristles, the hairs of my eyebrow, to spread them more evenly so that they can look as flat as possible. So I'm using the comb, I'm pushing them upward, and then I make sure to flatten them even more using my finger, or sometimes still using the glue stick over it. So these are really cheap and affordable. They are around $3. This is another type of disposable brush because the glue will grab and dry in the brush and the comb. So I mean, it can work. You can clean it using sometimes a toothpick or sometimes using your nail in order to remove the glue. It's not as bad as latex because even if the glue dried down, you are still able to remove it. But yeah, I use it in every single makeup off camera when I'm concealing my eyebrow. So now let's move to the grand finale, the number 1. So, my top pick for the E.L.F. brush that I'm using the most is the E.L.F. blush brush, this one that comes with a black handle. Basically, I'm mostly using it to remove powder when I'm concealing my eyebrows. So when I'm concealing my eyebrows, as I said, I'm applying many layers of glue on my eyebrows, generally 5 or 6, and then I need to set that in. So I'm using a powder. Right now I'm using the Rimmel Stay Mate, and I'm using a sponge. I first set the glue using the sponge with the powder, then I'm applying concealer on top of that, and then I'm also setting the concealer using that sponge and the same powder. But then I need to remove the excess of powder, and I'm using this brush for it. Also, I use it to grab the fallouts of powder on my face. Generally, I always got some around my nose, and sometimes when I'm doing a makeup, I also use it to get some fallouts of eyeshadow. The thing that I like so much about this brush is, first of all, let's say it, powder brush are generally more expensive because you have more bristles in it. So this one is really affordable. This is around $5, which is really great for a powder brush. The thing that I like is the shape of the bristle. I have to say, I washed it a lot, so it kind of lost its shape a little bit, but it is really like a semicircle. It is higher at the middle, and well-rounded, so it's really good to work with angles, especially if you want to apply well brushes or highlighter. But well, if you want to work with the curvature of your face, the shape of the brush is really good for that. So yes, this is my #1 pick for the E.L.F. brushes, because this is literally the one that I've been using the most. This is my oldest brush, so yeah, this is the reason it was my #1 pick. Is there any other E.L.F. brushes that I should know about, that I should try and could become my favorite? If so, leave it in the comments down below. And now I'm back with makeup on. So I did a cosplay SFX makeup of a Whiplash from the game Doom Eternal. I have to say, with the horns, I kind of also look like an evil Pikachu zombie, but well, it would fit into Doom anyway. So I hope you really enjoyed the video. If so, please feel free to give a like and subscribe to the channel for more cosplay SFX makeup tips and tricks, and also to see some tutorial to learn how to do this kind of makeup. So I hope to see you in another video. Bye!